What is up? What is up? So, how many of you have ever mowed a wrong house? Well, I did, and this is not the first time I've done this, as I'm sure a lot of us have done at some point or another. This is the house, or a duplex, I should say. Well, it doesn't really matter. It's a home, right? That I mowed. As you can see, still looks pretty darn good. It was the wrong house that I mowed. This is, and the people in there were looking at me, and nobody stopped me. Of course, why would they, right? So the customer walked up to me and saw me doing my little apartments, duplexes down here, and walked up to me and said, hey, can you cut my yard? And I said, yeah. And somehow, through misunderstanding, I thought that was the one he was talking about, which was not. It was this one, which is hysterical and funny. As you can see, it's pretty tall, but it's small. It's really nothing there. Because this is where I was parked to do those duplexes. So when he walked up to me, I was already here, and I don't know how I misunderstood or did what, but I ended up doing that one down there, and I was the wrong house. So how many have you done this before? So it has happened to me several times over the course of last 13 years, but it doesn't happen often, and it sucks when it happens. Not that it's a big deal, of course, but just because of the time, and all that. But somebody got a free cut, I guess. So I mowed the wrong yard, man. It happens. And how I found out about it is he texted me the next day and said, I guess this is why I know they call you the ninja. And I said, oh yeah? I was thinking as like a compliment. He's like, yeah, man. I was like, hey, you didn't tell me your property held water. I said, because that other yard I just showed you did. I was like, you didn't tell me that property held water. I was like, it was pretty wet back there, and so I had to be really careful. But I got her done. And he's like, wait, you mowed a yard? I'm like, you mowed the yard? I was like, yeah, did you not see it? And he's like, you didn't mow my yard. I'm like, excuse me? And that's how we ended up finding out that I actually mowed the wrong yard. Anyway, ninjas, hope everyone had a great weekend, and I hope everyone has a wonderful week this week. I still have that video, and I'm recording off my phone, so I'd have to, I guess, cut it off to turn the camera around. But I still have the video with Michael from the dealership when I went and picked up my new piece of equipment. Just haven't had a time to really upload how crazy busy last week it has been. I even worked a little bit, a couple of hours yesterday. Had to pick up a bunch of brush, and did the church, and did a few little odd and ends things. So, so yeah, there's that. So, unfortunately, right now I'm doing this yard that I was supposed to do last week. And I've already gotten paid for it. But I did the other yard, so it sucks. Anyway, I'm here, so might as well go ahead and get these while I'm here. So it just makes sense. So I'll be here, it's 12 o'clock. I'll be here by 1:30. Anywho, maybe I'll show you a little bit when I step outside and walk around. All right, ninjas, so word of advice, something that you should know if you stumble upon this situation as I have. If you have a client, like this one, for example, you can see, well, first, let me just go ahead and say, you can see how we have transformed this yard beautifully. They've invested a lot of money. This stuff is not cheap, and it's only gotten more expensive as everything has gone up. And we did the aerating and seeding and all that last fall and this spring. And This is where it gets tricky. It's a bi-weekly account. Okay, so 2 weeks ago when I was here, it was just starting to pop off and it looked really good. And if you don't follow me on Instagram at SG_ninjas_official, you should, because I share things like this after I mow. So I shared it and it was like turning out really good, but the grass wasn't really tall just yet. And where do I even begin? I show up today. So 2 weeks ago I was here and it was fine. I show up today and it's ankle high, if not more in certain areas. I mean, it took me like 8 to 12 times. I was going zigzags this way, that way. I was going all different directions, raising my deck, dropping my deck just to disperse all that grass. You can see how much of it is on the road still. I just finished trimming everything, so all I gotta do is blow off. Look at that. So, this is where the lesson will be to some of you, and to some of you might just be a reminder. But if you have a client, ninjas, who is a bi-weekly client and is wanting to start investing into the whole aeration, seeding, liming, whatever, please let your clients that once all this stuff kicks in, you're not going to be able to stay on a bi-weekly basis. It's going to have to be weekly because the grass is literally on steroids. So I just had a wonderful conversation. And when I say wonderful, I mean it's always pleasant to talk to them. They're real nice people, but I can see that it didn't sit well with them. They're like, well, the grass is doing really great. Nick, you've done a great job. It's transformed beautifully, and it's only going to get better. But we really like the bi-weekly schedule for whatever reason, whether it's a budget thing or which my guess. Well, I don't know if it's a budget thing. Maybe they just don't want to spend or invest into mowing that often. But I don't think it's a budget thing, because if it was a budget thing, who would pour this kind of money into their property with all the aerating and seeding? Because I'm telling you, that stuff is not cheap. And it's only gone up. As seed has gone up like 30%, at least in my area. So we had this conversation. And she wasn't wild about it. But I told her, I said, look, I didn't want to say if it's always this tall, I'm not going to cut your yard. But that was the direction I was leaning towards, which I'd hate to lose an account like this who's willing to invest this kind of money. But I said, look, and this is true, this will happen. I said, if we cut it on the same deck height as a bi-weekly, and it's growing like this, there's going to be so much excess grass, I'm not going to be able to disperse all of it, because I'm not going to be here 10 hours on one yard. I was like, and if that ends up being the case, that was not me, by the way, they had a freaking trailer parked here. It's going to kill your investment. The excess grass will kill the new grass that's underneath. And I said, then all the money you've poured into all this aerating and seeding will be for nothing, because you're just going to have a dead yard, spots everywhere, especially when the heat and the humidity kick in, which are not here yet. Yesterday and today was a bit of a warmer day, but it's not here yet. And I said, look, ma'am, it's your investment. It's your guys' investment. I would hate for you to destroy your own yard because of how healthy, which there's still some weeds through here, but how healthy and plush and nice and green it is. And I'd hate for it to kill it just because we're cutting it on a lower deck height. And, you're just going to have a dead yard. I said, it's totally up to you. But if you want my recommendation and my suggestion, We need to go weekly. She said, hold on. So you have a button on your mower for weekly height and bi-weekly height? Oh my gosh. Anyway, I said on the weekly height, of course, we use a different height setting. And then on a bi-weekly mow, we use a different height setting. There's no like button on the mower that's this is for weekly, this is for bi-weekly. Anyway, so the tip of the day that I guess was worth sharing with you as a reminder, some of you may already know this, some of you may not. But all jokes aside, if you have a bi-weekly client who decides to pour huge amounts of money into their yard and they want to start transforming it and doing all this aerating stuff, you need to go ahead and give them a tip, or a heads up and say, hey, no problem. I'm happy to do it. You're paying for it. That's fine. We'll do whatever you want. We can make your yard as green as you want. But if they are particularly stuck on that bi-weekly schedule, you need to go ahead and give them a heads up and a warning and say, hey, once the grass starts kicking in and it's growing like crazy, we're not going to be able to stay on that. It's going to have to be weekly. So give them a heads up on that. I've jokingly said it to them, and I said, because we were always talking about, I want a nice green, healthy yard. I was like, well, we can make it happen. It'll take some time. We'll have to do it in the fall. We'll have to do it in the spring again. And we kind of need to keep doing that every fall and spring if you want to keep this. And I kind of jokingly in the past suggested and said, when it starts to grow like crazy, we may have to go weekly. And I don't recall what the answer back to me was. It was obviously nothing like determined, like, yeah, sure, or no, not at all. It was just kind of like laughed it off. Maybe they thought I was kidding. I don't know. But now when it finally came to the point of me mentioning it and talking about it, she was just not too wild, I guess would be the right word, because she wasn't upset or anything. She was just like, really? We have to go weekly? I'm like, yes, we have to. I was like, this is, it's really tall. I said, one, you don't want it that tall. Animals will move in. And two, I can't be here 3-4 hours, Like even right now on this back, I never even dropped the deck. I ran it with the highest, with the deck all the way up, and it was cutting. And then I dropped it down to 5, then I dropped it down to 4.5. And I did that, of course, prior or after speaking with her once I knew that we were okay on a weekly, because I'm not going to lie to you, ninjas, I probably would have done it, period, because I'm not cutting this on 3 inches. I'd be here all night. So, but it was good that I spoke with her and then I did it, because now I know I'll be back in a week, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I didn't get to show you any of that overgrown yard. It was pretty overgrown, which was earlier this morning when I pulled up, which was the yard that I had not mowed when I was supposed to, and I ended up mowing the wrong yard. So, lesson learned there, but live and learn. Anyway, I was hoping to get 20 today and had to talk to a few clients and things like that. Sometimes that happens, and I believe this is my 14th one. So I got 14 in, which is not good. They're calling for a little bit of rain tomorrow. First they were calling 90% all day, and then now it's something about maybe first part of the day in the morning. So if that's the case, then I'll just plan on starting tomorrow afternoon. And even if I get 5 tomorrow, or 6 or 8 or 10, better than nothing. But what I'll do tomorrow while it's raining is I'll take off the gator blades off the SG Ninjas mower, the 61 inch, because I plan on using that on that 3-acre yard where we just mow, we don't trim. Because I used the stand-on mower this last time compared to the ZXT, the 61, I used the 54, and I was a lot faster. So that means if I use the 61 stand-on, it should cut my time, maybe not in half, but definitely dramatic amount. And I just got another 3-acre property that called me, and I spoke with her. So if it is raining in the morning, maybe I'll go check that out or whatnot. I mean, it's so big. She's like, I got horses, just to give you a heads up. She's like, I'll give you the gate, you know, the code to my gate, but I prefer to be there because I got horses. And I'm like, it's that big? She's like, yeah, it's probably 3 acres plus. So I'm getting accounts left and right, man. It's insane. People are just coming in, calling, texting, but this is expected. It's always a little bit of a shocker and stressful time, of course. But when you do good work and you establish your business, and I haven't been in a business that long, of course, there's people out there who've been doing this 20 plus years, but it seems like last year was really crazy, and this year is double from last year. So it just seems like, you know, when you've been in business a good amounts of time, you've established your name, you've established your reputation, and I don't know where these people are coming. I mean, a few of them that have called and I've talked to them, they said that it was just a referral from this person or that person, but it's gotten to the point I don't even ask anymore because I can't keep up, or I can barely keep up. And as you can see, it's almost dark, so I'm working from day to night. But I am solo today. I was not this last week. I did have some help, even though the others basically pooped out on me for whatever reason. Yeah, lawn care is not for everybody, man. Shouldn't be a surprise to you ninjas, because it is not a surprise to me. Everybody wants a job until they get the job. When they get the job, remember, they don't want the job. But I don't care. More money for me. I just don't understand a lot of these people. You know, some people say you're not paying people enough, you know, or this or that. It's simply just not the case. I mean, it's not true. I mean, you got a guy who's made $1,000 in a week, and then he just decides to get up and disappear. I don't think it's the money. I think it's personal stuff at home, private stuff, or maybe they just particularly don't like doing this type of work. So, you know, but I know if I wasn't running a business and I wasn't self-employed and I was just a guy looking for a job to make money and somebody offered me $4,000 a month, oh my gosh, I would jump on that. But that's just me. Again, I don't know. Everybody's different. This generation sucks. You got my old dad, man, who's had like 2-3 strokes, comes out here and helps me whenever he can. Just because he knows that I need the help, and he just can't do this type of work anymore. It's too much for him. So, and I don't blame him, nor do I expect anything else out of him. I'm thankful that he even can come out here once a week or twice. I'll save this for another video. I've already chit-chatted. It's going on 14-15 minutes, and I still got to blow off and get out of here. But the power chute design gave me trouble, and it shut down on me, and it wouldn't open. And I was in the middle of cutting the yard, and I can't cut the yard with that closed. So I was able to take one bolt out, and the other one would just not give. I mean, I tried and tried and tried. I think I wasted probably 30-40 minutes in the middle of the yard. So what did I do? I just snapped it off, man. I had no choice, you know. The bolt wouldn't come loose. So and I don't know why it's stopped working on me, but maybe it's just the motor, maybe it's something in the electrical, I'm not sure. So I don't have another one. I don't have another, you know, open and close. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll get that replaced or maybe go a different route. I'm not really sure yet. But for now, I'm just leaving it open. All right, ninjas, I hope all of you have had a good day. I know I did. I love this. You know, this kind of goes back to this work really is not for everybody. This is, you got to be a special kind of special, you know, to really enjoy this type of work. It's just not for everybody. I don't know. I don't care how much you pay them. I could throw $10,000 a month to a person's face, and if they hate themselves and hate this, you know, hate themselves because they, you know, are doing this because they are so miserable, money is not gonna keep them here. So I just figured $4,000 a month is pretty darn good. Well, let me know. What do you think? You think that's pretty good, paying somebody $4,000 a month and then they just get up and leave? I mean, is that pretty? Am I wrong? I guess is what I'm trying to say. Am I doing something wrong? Am I underpaying people? I mean, I try my best to be super friendly and have a fun environment and joke and laugh and listen to music, you know. But all right. Anyway, enough of that. I gotta go. Keep that in mind if you have a bi-weekly and they decide to invest all that money into their yard. Weekly will eventually, once all this stuff kicks in, have to start into bi-weekly will have to start into weekly. So keep that in mind. All right. Thank you for tuning in for another one. I hope that's helped you, some of you. And we'll see how the weather holds tomorrow and if we end up doing anything. But hope everyone had a good day. Take care. Peace.